Hello, it's Miss Moorfield, and tonight we're going to start our geometry unit, and most of what we go over tonight should be review, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page before class tomorrow. So you'll notice I have a set of two lines, and at my start, they're right on top of each other. I don't have an angle because the lines are on top of each other. However, if I go 1/4 of a turn, so 1/4 of a way around, and when I refer to a turn, I'm talking about one complete circle. So 1/4 of the way would give me a 90-degree angle, a right angle. So that should be familiar to you from last year. This symbol always tells you that it is a 90-degree angle or a right angle, and that would be 1/4 of the way around a circle. Now if I go halfway around a circle or half of a turn, you'll notice I have two right angles. I have a 90-degree angle here, and I would have a 90-degree angle here. 90 plus 90 would give me 180, so two right angles is 180 degrees, or halfway around the circle is 180 degrees. Now if I continue 3/4 of a turn, and you'll notice this signifies the angle I'm looking at, I am not referring to the right angle here. I'm looking at the black angle symbol, the black angle on the outside of the two lines, which is 270 degrees, because it would have been three 90-degree turns. Now if I do one full complete turn all the way around a circle, of course we know that's 360 degrees because it's 90 degrees 4 times. So again, this should be familiar, but I need you to be back in that mindset for class tomorrow, thinking about your geometry terms and vocabulary that we've learned in the past. So what if it's less than 90 degrees? What if our angle does not make a 90-degree square? So anything that's less than 90 degrees, we know is an acute angle. Again, this term should be familiar from last year, and you'll notice again I have my angle symbol, my black line, covering or going between the two lines that the angle is representing. So this here, whatever that angle would equal, has to be an acute angle because it is smaller than 90 degrees, because remember a 90-degree angle would have been with two perpendicular lines, so two perpendicular lines where they intersect makes a 90-degree angle. So those two lines are closer together, which means it's a smaller angle or an acute angle. Now what if it's greater than 90 degrees? Of course my perpendicular line would have been here, so that's 90 degrees, and now my lines are farther apart, so I have more than 90 degrees, and we refer to any angle larger than 90 degrees as an obtuse angle. And again, we should know these terms from last year, but anything that is larger than 90 degrees is considered obtuse. So 90 degrees is really our middle ground. It's what we compare everything to. It's either 90 or it's less than 90 or more than 90, but that right angle is crucial because everything else revolves around the right angle. So if I look at this shape, you'll notice a couple different symbols. We have angles in each corner. You'll notice my angle symbol. Now these angles are acute angles. My lines are closer together than they would be if they were perpendicular, because perpendicular of course would be here, whereas these top line angles are wider than perpendicular or larger than 90 degrees. So these two up here would be obtuse angles. But you'll notice there's another symbol, these arrows that are on my lines. Now that signifies that those two lines are parallel. This top line and the bottom line are parallel lines. They will never ever cross. They go on forever and ever, and they will never cross because they run completely parallel to each other. Now you'll notice these side lines don't have that symbol because eventually, since they're going at an angle, they will intersect at some point. But the two top and bottom will never intersect, which makes them parallel lines. Looking at our next picture, we'll have a triangle, and you'll see we do have that familiar right angle symbol. And then these two other angles we know are less than 90 degrees, so they're acute. But you'll also notice they have a line through them, and they each have one line. That signifies that they're equivalent. So if they each had two lines, they would still be equivalent. As long as the markings are the same, then I'm telling you what this angle equals is the same as this angle. And both of them we know are acute angles, so whatever that degree is going to be less than 90 degrees. You'll also notice that to get a right angle, like we said before, you must have perpendicular lines. So we know that this line A and line B are perpendicular. They intersect to make a 90-degree angle. This is the symbol you would see for perpendicular lines. So if I was describing this triangle, I could say A is perpendicular to B, and I could write it like that. So again, most of these terms are review, but I want you to get back into that train of thought and be ready for class tomorrow, where we're going to really get into measuring angles, which will be new information. So you need to have the vocabulary set in order to start working with those terms. So what I want you to do tonight for your homework is I want you to create a shape. So you can either draw it on your iPad in Doceri or in a different application that you can draw, and you could take a screenshot of that and post it on Edmodo, or you could draw it on paper and bring it to class. But I would like your shape to include as many of the traits that we've discussed tonight as possible. So it does not need to be a regular geometric shape like a square or a triangle. It could be an irregular shape that you've created yourself. But I want you to include as many of these traits as possible and label them accordingly. So a right angle, an obtuse angle, an acute angle, perpendicular lines, and parallel lines if possible. As many as you can. We will share those in class tomorrow, and as always, post questions if you have them.